ABC for the Ozarks, covering our community. This is KSPR News at 4.
This was devastating, and I'm going, there goes my job.
Trees down and businesses destroyed after a tornado hits the Ozarks. Complete team coverage of the devastation.
And the storms aren't finished with us yet. More tornadoes may be on the way. We have KSPR team coverage from today's damaging storms.
That's right. Sheets of rain, extremely strong winds, and a confirmed tornado hit the Ozarks.
Our coverage will take you to the hardest hit spot in Monette, where a tornado leveled the Pizza Hut and ripped century-old trees out of the ground.
We also went along as the National Weather Service surveyed the damage. How do they decide straight line winds or tornado? And we share some of the moments you captured during and after the storm.
But we begin our coverage tonight with a look at the weather this evening.
Storms are entering the Ozarks as we speak again. Here's a live look at the radar. This system has already produced tornado warnings in northwest Arkansas.
I was just out driving in this in South Springfield. It's pretty heavy rain out there. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Leidy was here for this morning's storms, and he joins us live again with more on this one. Kevin.
All right, so our next little round of moving through the area this afternoon. Currently, we only have severe thunderstorm warnings that are in effect. Let's get right to the Storm Vision HD Doppler radar. And we have got warnings in effect for portions of Taney County. Any of the areas here highlighted and kind of circled in the orange color are under a severe thunderstorm warning. This cell at one point possibly did produce a tornado down across northwest Arkansas into Carroll County earlier. But severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect for Marion County in Arkansas, Taney County here in Missouri, Ozark County, and also Douglas County until 4:45 p.m. as a strong line there continues to press off to the north and east. Here's how it has all progressed. Early morning storms, and now with a little heating this afternoon, we've got some activity down to the south. And it will be down to the south and east where most areas are going to be under the gun as we head throughout the course of tonight. Here's a look at some of the storm reports. You can see some wind damage here, reports across the area. And of course, that tornado over around Monette being confirmed as an EF1 tornado. And of course, that would equal winds of up to 110 miles an hour, we're told, on the higher end of that EF1 scale there. Again, lots of damage. We'll talk more about the severe weather threat and new information coming into us about the storm survey, and we'll pass that along to you here in just a little bit. Joe and Christine.
Thanks, Kevin. The worst damage from today's storms is in Monette.
That confirmed EF1 tornado Kevin was talking about hit dozens of businesses, including the Pizza Hut. That's where we begin our storm team coverage with KSPR's Will Carter.
Good afternoon, guys. As you mentioned, the Pizza Hut here in Monette was destroyed along with several other businesses that were damaged. Now, as you can see, the roof and the tiles are all just peeled off and lying in the middle of the parking lot now, but this could have been a whole lot worse. Here's why. The storm actually moved through a little after 7 this morning. Had it been a few hours later at lunchtime, look at this. We could have been sitting in the dining room and people seriously could have been hurt.
To look inside and be so grateful that there was no one in the building at the time and that no one was hurt, that's really a blessing.
In less than a minute, Pat Hopkins' 36-year-old family business was toppled.
We drove up and we're like, oh my goodness, this is a nightmare.
Inside the Pizza Hut, chairs are now part of the outdoors, and the buffet, well, it now sits on the ledge of a remaining brick wall.
To see things just demolished and how a force so much bigger than human beings could wreak this kind of damage.
That force of nature also hit the Finish Line car wash just a block away.
Our Bay 1 wall was totally knocked down. So
Debbie Nichols worked here for 2 years, and as she cleans up debris, she says her initial worry is what now?
This morning, this was devastating, and I'm going, there goes my job.
At the car wash, bricks scatter the ground and one wall is shifted.
It's hard to see when you work somewhere to see damage like this. It's not easy.
Not easy for anyone, but with the damage done, most businesses are only left with one option.
We're going to scrape this up and clean it up and start over again.
Now, the National Weather Service says winds of 110 miles per hour are what did this damage right here. You can see the boosts are toppled, and take a look over here. This is one of the most interesting things right here. This table is actually completely through the roof right here. This is the kind of damage you're seeing all over Monette, and we're going to have much more on this story a little bit later. In Monette, Will Carter, KSPR News.
A lot of us in the Ozarks have sat in some of those booths. The owner of the Pizza Hut says about 20 people worked at the restaurant. She is trying to find them work at other Pizza Hut franchises that she owns in the Ozarks. Also in Monette, along Highway 60, a barbecue restaurant was hit by those winds just as the owner had arrived for work. Big Baldy's Barbecue just opened 2 years ago, and now it will have to close indefinitely. It's connected to the Toupee laundromat. The owner, Steve Hayes, says he was checking on the smoker outside when he saw a big wall cloud approaching.
Into the building, I didn't think it was a tornado or anything. I just thought I was going to get wet. And I turned around just when I got inside the building, and it hit the front of the building, and it felt like a shockwave. And I mean, all the sand from all the bricks and everything just pelted me.
The tornado caused cracks up and down the walls of that restaurant. The roof was peeled back, and there's water damage throughout most of the restaurant.
The tornado just hit business after business in Monette. Next, it struck at 700 Dori Street, where the U-Haul and A1 storage business were damaged. The roof came off 1 year ago at this U-Haul in a storm, and now the owner will be replacing it again. Today's twister toppled big U-Haul vans with no problem and twisted siding off of that business. Businesses weren't the only spots damaged today in Monette. The city's South Park also bears evidence of the tornado that went through. KSPR's Natalie Swallow has more in our team coverage.
East side of the soccer field. Now, because they've been blown westward, the National Weather Service says they think that's a good indicator that a tornado came through here. Another good indicator of high winds, large trees uprooted. What was supposed to be a spring cleanup day across the city turned into South Park cleanup day for public works crews. With the help of some backhoes and chainsaws, crews were able to pick up some of the larger debris. The tornado destroyed some trees that were about a century old. With bad ice and windstorms in recent years, the city has been proactive in keeping trees a big part of South Park.
Fortunately, we have a lot of replacement trees that we planted in the park in 2007 and 2008 through a big tree planting project, so we have some of those to take the place of ones that did get damaged and did go down in the storm.
It'll take decades for new trees planted by the city to reach the same height as some of the ones knocked down by the storm. In Monette, Natalie Swallow, KSPR News.
And thanks to the National Weather Service, we know an EF1 tornado caused that damage in Monette.
But how did they come to that conclusion? Meteorologist Craig Carnesi continues our team coverage on this morning's tornado. Craig?
Yeah, Joe and Christine, shortly after the storm moved out of Monette, meteorologists from the National Weather Service then traveled down to Barry County to assess the damage.
I was across 60 Highway from the location here at the Pizza Hut. I didn't see a funnel, although the rain clouds was rather heavy. I couldn't see this building from across the street.
Train storm spotter Daryl Oberman was only a matter of feet from the Pizza Hut, but couldn't see if a tornado was in the storm.
Looking at radar, we had a pretty active storm come through the region.
Meteorologists like Steve Reynolds from the National Weather Service are left to make the final determination.
The Weather Service survey did indicate damage from near the golf course through the Pizza Hut area and then all the way over towards the IDF building on the east side of Monette.
One of the factors that National Weather Service meteorologists take into account is which way was the debris thrown within a thunderstorm to determine if a tornado produced the damage. This sign, had it been straight line winds, would have just been thrown across the field. Instead, due to the counterclockwise rotation within the tornado, the sign was wrapped around this tree.
Meteorologists also look for a path of damage and if it is confined to a narrow or wide path.
If you look at the Casino Park area, there were a lot of trees down in a fairly concentrated area, and that is close to where we saw those bleachers get pushed to the west. So if there was any area where the tornado was perhaps on the ground the longest, I'd say it was there, but certainly the damage here was more intense.
Meteorologists rated the damage from the storm as an EF1 on the enhanced Fujita scale, with winds estimated on the high end of an EF1 of up to 110 miles per hour. Thunderstorms can and do produce straight line winds of that strength, so it takes a detailed storm survey from the National Weather Service and their meteorologists, like the one today, to make that final decision. Joe?
Thanks, Craig. It seems like they've made the decision pretty quickly. And did you see the shakers for the cheese and the hot pepper there they were
Pizza
sitting
Hut?
on the ledge.
No,
right
they
there,
were still there.
undisturbed.
It's amazing. I was out early this morning in eastern Greene County and saw the clouds trying to form something. So, I mean, it was pretty chaotic this morning.
Spooky wake-up call.
Yeah.
Some of the first images of the storm we saw came from you.
That's right. Ozarkers snapped photos from when the storm rolled through and captured the destruction left behind. KSPR's team coverage continues with Michelle Sherwood. She has a look at the storm through your eyes.
Thanks, guys. We are still getting a lot of pictures from our viewers today and hearing a lot of comments on our Facebook page. Check these out. These were posted on our U-News section from our viewers in Monette this morning. You can see how ominous those clouds looked earlier. Those are right when the sirens took off. And then you hear the phrase twisted metal a lot when you talk about tornadoes. And that's why. You can see high winds blew over that U-Haul, and it nearly crushed the Pizza Hut there, which we showed you earlier in the newscast. And again, these were all sent in by you, and the pictures and videos are still coming in. So, of course, we would love to see them. Just go to KSPR.com, click on the U-News section, and we may even feature them on our newscast. Joe, Christine.
Okay, thanks, Michelle. We want to stress no one was injured in these storms. That's the good news. The National Weather Service did confirm an EF1 tornado did touch down in Monette, as we've said, and those winds were up to 110 miles per hour. It was only on the ground for about a mile. Monette was the hardest hit spot. The Pizza Hut and South Park took the brunt of the storm in Monette. We have complete coverage of the storm on our website, KSPR.com. There you can also use our weather tools to track the next storm headed your way and upload your photos and videos to U-News.
And don't forget, my favorite thing is you can watch the streaming radar right there. You can watch the current radar and keep a track of that storm.
On your phone, too.
That's what, yeah. Time could have been the difference between life and death for businesses in Monette.
Coming up, we'll take a closer look at the damage to the Pizza Hut and how just a few hours made a huge difference.
A new round of storms is bearing down on the Ozarks as we speak. Let's get right over to Kevin Leidy for another check of our conditions.
Well, we have got some strong thunderstorms moving into Douglas County, eastern Christian County as well. And we just got brand new information of a second confirmed tornado from this morning's storms. Just came down seconds ago, and I'll have that for you coming up right after the break.